Yeah. I mean, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline Comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish. They're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam! Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
And I'm Scott Wakefield, host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham, where we talk about comic books and all kinds of great storytelling, sometimes with incredible guests. And we want you to join us Wednesday nights from 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you there.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Wednesday night. What? And that means it's Silverline's Wednesday Wham with an exclamation mark. That's there for a reason, because our show is amazing. Punching you in the face.
That awesome.
It's just that awesome. We had to add the explanation mark.
Explanation.
Exclamation mark.
Expedition mark. It's the expedition mark because this is an adventure.
This is
because we never know what's going to happen.
Week, and we are happy you're here. I missed you all last week, and my excuse is completely my pocketbook. I had free help to work on my car, and I can't pass up free help. So that's where I was. And Rory, thank you. Thank you for taking care of over here. I'm over here, taking care of the show. And I don't know. It seemed it wasn't a colossal crash and burn.
No, Rob,
the FCC didn't shut us down.
No, that's only when Barb's on.
And Barb has been off enjoying warm weather. Welcome back. It's great to see Barb and Rob.
I have been in our nation's capital.
Ooh, very nice. I've heard of it. It's not just a rumor.
Yeah, we were talking about it in the green room.
And everybody out there, thank you for joining us. We are going to be talking about, as usual, comic books, the craft of creating. Vic says art focused. We'll see. Well, I don't know. The writers here.
The writers are. Yeah, we kind of run what's going on.
There are words to making a comic page. Come on, people.
If there were no writers, would there really be any need for artists?
It's going on right now. With the writers' strike.
If there were no words, would there be need for art?
Would there be art? Ooh, that's very nice.
The words.
I wonder whose pencils those are, Rob.
I don't know.
And if time permits, pop culture. What's on the screens and what's on in our books? What are we reading? And we will probably not keep it on track. But before,
do we ever?
Yeah,
probably.
We will. Okay, that's a promise. We will not. And before we get too far into this, there are only 4 days left on our current Kickstarter campaign. If you're not aware out there, we launch our titles with crowdfunding on Kickstarter. Titles that are done. We're not getting them done on Kickstarter. They're done. They're just ready to be purchased by you. That's you. I'm looking at you to grab your comic books. Yes. And 4 days to go. We have surpassed our goal. So there is doubly no speculation. If you hop over there and back those, you're pre-ordering your comics, you will have those in a few weeks after the close of the campaign. And if you've already backed, you know that you can up your pledge. Did you know that? Did you know that you can increase the pledge and bump up your reward level? And
if you're a fan of PBS, you'll love us.
you get your tote bag, and
you call in and talk to a real celebrity.
Our operators are waiting by the phones right
Roland
now.
Mann will talk to you directly. You call in anytime, day or night.
So we got 2 titles on there. The Obsoletes, number 2, and Pendulum, number 1. Those are awesome titles. Of course, continuing some stories, bringing new stories to you. And you're supporting indie comics by supporting us on Kickstarter. So open a new tab, wait to the end of the show, keep listening to us, keep joining in. And but get over to Kickstarter, search Silverline, search Obsoletes, Pendulum, or look at any of our social medias. We've got the links there everywhere.
Yeah, we doubled our goal, man.
Yeah. This one's been a good one. It's been a great. So thank you to the folks that have backed it thus far.
We need another $100 and some odd to get to the next stretch goal.
Yeah, check out the
correctly.
Stretch goals.
Those foil covers look so good.
Yeah, they really do. Oh, and
it's
an
like
update.
$150. Yep.
If all of you out there that have backed our campaigns before, you should be getting updates or back the previous campaign, which was a really good one. I'm a little partial to it.
It was all right.
Printing printing is done, and they will be getting in the mail Toot de Suite, as the French Canadians say. I believe so. And maybe it's Irish. I'm not sure.
I think it's Chitty Chitty Bang Bang.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I can only laugh
Thank
in
you,
French.
Rob, with cultural reference there. A little Ian Fleming.
We've already hit the James Bond
bingo. Take a drink, everyone.
Right. Yep. There's one.
Yes, and the foil covers are getting amazing. Kablam Digital Printing does a fantastic job. If you missed our little bumper there,
super slick.
You can print 1 million copies. Yes, 1 million.
I only have one complaint about Kablam, is they don't print business cards. I really want them to print.
You only have one complaint about Kablam, and it's not Tommy. Okay,
I got 10 complaints, and none of them are Tommy.
Every company that I've had do my business cards can't get the color right, but Kablam is always right.
Kablam does great things, but yeah, business cards. We've got a local company here that I wish I could give our business to. I wish. It's always like a month to get business cards. It's not their thing. They have to like reset their printing press and turn their plugs upside down and move on.
Every single letter.
Vistaprint.
I know.
Vistaprint.
They're like, you can get them like, if you want a business card like in 2 hours, you can like upload it and then there's a ring at the door. And,
but if you want to take film to a CVS or Walgreens, it's no longer an hour; it's 3 weeks to get actual film.
To get film.
I'll even yell at the girls behind the counter. I'm like, back in the '90s, it was an hour.
It was an hour. I remember when it was an hour.
And that was innovative, and you had to pay extra.
I get the books from Kablam, and I look at what I colored on my iPad as opposed to what came out is perfect. And you think I can get a freaking business cards to print with the correct colors? No.
Not using the HTML color code.
Vistaprint's good and quick, but the color matching is
I've always been happy. I got some not that we're endorsed by any of these companies, but Moo was pretty good, and they have a good selection if you want to get fancy.
Was it the first Steam Patriots business cards we did, the high quality ones?
Yeah, they were like you could use them to build a house. They were like lumber quality.
You can still see the wood grain,
mostly tree. Yes, there you go. Yep, those are they got that heft to them. Yeah, you could gambit through.
We're having a psycho moment here.
You could hurt somebody with those. Yes,
that shows.
That's our Airship 27 card. Yeah,
and you guys have cool stuff going on over there. If we got some time, maybe you can talk that up to Rob, because I always love what you and Ron 40. And Ron, keeping it relevant, Ron's Beyond the Stars #2 is part of the Vic. Yeah, one that's my complaint too. Tommy is a great individual. Sorry, Tommy. We love him.
He's a big teddy bear.
And if we
all
don't
squeeze him,
that, Ron and I did a podcast that's up at my YouTube channel right now. It went up Monday.
Okay.
Monday evening. So if we don't get to any of that, you can hop over there, folks, after
Yeah.
you're done here, and check out what we talked about.
Yeah, good stuff.
And we always have a joke at the beginning and a joke at the end, and they're both bad. They're both really
good.
bad.
Excellent.
Well, maybe I'll just watch it to work on my
Dad
repertoire. Right?
Yeah, they're all kinds of, they're good and bad and dad and
Go good.
Bad and
Good.
bad dad jokes.
Good.
bad dad jokes. Yeah.
And Rory, I noticed you're sounding a little less like you're standing across the room.
Yeah, I figured out my technical difficulties.
What was it, Rory?
Well, my microphone was backwards. It was just didn't know there was a.
All your words were coming through mirror image because they were bouncing off the wall.
Yeah. I gave a look around to it. I'm like, oh, the logo's on the other side. Oh, it must be a cardioid.
It's like
backwards.
It's like
it is dead.
what is it? Not C4, and I'm what's the explosive
Claymore.
that says point toward enemy?
Yeah, Claymore.
Yeah, the
That's what I
Claymore.
need. That's what I need.
Point toward mouth. Yeah, talk here, no talk here.
I had a lieutenant commander who had that as a ball hitch on his truck. It was a Claymore.
Yeah.
If you didn't know what it was.
Just to throw in something odd, you mentioned C4. I went to the dentist and he was going to put a new cap on one of my teeth, and he was going to do the porcelain, and they have different colors. Well, guess what color my teeth are?
C4.
C4.
You have an
So I
explosive
jokingly
smile.
said, "Oh, you're putting explosives in my mouth," and he goes, "Huh?"
No, come on.
He didn't
He's never
know.
even
No,
he's never even thought
No.
that. Come on,
no.
that's
And he
hilarious.
goes,
You
"Oh
good?
yeah, that is right."
You don't get like the Sherwin-Williams like color. You can pick the.
Well, that's what he did. He was back there. He was comparing to my teeth, and he goes, "Oh, C, yeah, I get the C4. Let's order that." And
Mine are coffee, no cream, no sugar.
Yeah.
Mine are 68 years old and drinking lots of coffee. Yeah.
Okay, well, everybody.
Enough about our dentition.
Yeah,
topic.
We've already gone off the
Didn't
rails.
bother.
We haven't even started yet.
Tonight's
Yeah.
topic.
I dragged us right off the rails, didn't I?
Come on, I'll rescue this show. We have our topic is to creating the comic page. Now,
Which I am actually doing as we're speaking. I was doing some layouts.
have you done this before, Rob? Okay, because we might see.
Well,
see what
I do
Rob's episode
thumbnails
to
first,
shine.
so that's what I'm doing right now.
Oh,
for
Creating,
Wow.
that's very cool. So yeah, I want to look at those again in just a moment. Now, when I say creating the comic page, the message goes out, but as it's interpreted, Vic heard art. Vic heard making the art, right? Yeah, and
well, he would think that way. He's
Right.
an artist
That's-
himself.
yep,
So
that's-
yeah, he would think that. That's what I thought. I'm an artist.
When
so.
Rory, this is another Rory topic. Rory has been very helpful. Suggested this topic. I thought, well, writing the comic page. What elements of the story have to be?
And I have that too.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Perfect. What elements of the story have to be on
Right.
page? Which is tough. I really,
How
really
much
like.
do you convey?
Yeah. I love it. Doesn't not to say I'm good at it. Like, I love playing the banjo. I'm not good at it, but I love economy of words, getting the most bang for your buck.
Very important in comic books.
Yes.
You don't want a lot of word bullet. You don't want to be Stan Lee and Chris Claremont and cover up all the art with your word bullet.
Right. And in storytelling, so the art of flash fiction. I love. Now I don't necessarily want to work in that medium, but as a method of getting good at telling a story, keeping an entire story to 1,000 words really makes you work really, really hard to get all of the elements.
Every word counts.
Yep.
Every
Hello, David.
counts.
Exactly. And comic books really force you to do that. Now, I mean, just like any medium, you can make it tight and concise and you can draw it out, but I like the ability to be able to get the most out of every word and out of every scene and out of every phrase.
Right.
Every
scene a poster.
Yep. Yeah. And so, in writing, just prose. You make every sentence count. Analyze every sentence that you're getting everything out of it. You're wringing everything out of it that you can. Comic books, the beauty of comic books is that you can get so much out of a few words and so much out of an image, and they work together beautifully. So, and then when you're constrained to 22 pages and you want to get a story out of it, and not just every once in a while you'll have a slow comic. I mean, you might need that. Every TV show has a slow episode, but it still needs a story to it. Comic books force you to get as much out of it as you can. And when you write it all out, you're like, crap, this is 28 pages. Now, what are you going to do? What are you going to trim? Are you going to trim something? So when you get down to the page and then each panel, that's where you really have to pay attention. And you don't want any wasted panel, and every once in a while you have a panel where people aren't really doing anything, but it might be an expression. It might be a turn. It might be a transition.
And there's also, if in many comics, you also have to keep in mind that when you get to that, the first page is there. You turn and you've got 2 pages. So you read, and then a really good, well-written comic book makes you want to turn that page. Yeah. There's some cliffhanger of some sort that makes you want to turn that page and see what's on the next one. Right. It's either an art reference or something in the word balloons or captions that gets you to turn. What's that next page? I want to see what's next. So
Are you guys familiar with purple prose?
Oh yes.
Pulp.
The whole dark and
is
stormy
purple
night.
Prose.
Yes.
Almost all pulp was purple prose.
Like an over explanation.
Now there is room for that in comics. There's room. So in everything. We can have our rules. We can have our preferences as well, but it has to fit. You can have you
can't deviate too much.
Right, and you want it to make sense. So if your teenage pickpocket is expounding poetically, about something that might not fit. Whereas maybe you have your artistic character, or maybe your grizzled detective who is expounding about crime in the streets and his work doesn't. Every once in a while, Batman.
And lamplight.
Always expounds on what am I here for? What am I doing? But then sometimes he says, shut your mouth and, slug somebody in the teeth. So it has to make sense. One
of the main challenges between writing fiction and doing comic books is scripting it to fit the 24-page format. Yep. Now, I have a friend, Mike Barron, who has a formula that he does that seems to work for him. Obviously, it doesn't work for all writers, but he kind of sketches out what he
actually
sees.
Lays it out. Yeah.
And he lays it out and puts the word balloons in and send. That's his script.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When he sends it to his penciler.
One of the few that does that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's very good. It makes you think more visually if you write it that way.
Especially if you get too wordy.
That doesn't work for everybody. It works for him.
Right.
He does it on legal pads. He does it on legal pads, and he lays out the panels and
sometimes
little
it's just
stick figures and stuff.
Yeah. It's just stick figures.
But it tells him if he's getting too wordy because he can't fit the word balloons in around the art.
Yep. Yeah. And then part of the process too is having a good team put together. And I've said this before. Dan Hosick, who has lettered Steam Patriots, has a really good ear for the pacing, and he's even taken some of our dialogue and given it to somebody else to chunk up the pacing. Had somebody else say that line, and they do that in movies a lot of times, all the time. That someone gives someone else that line, it either fits better or it fits the flow, or so you're not. One person isn't talking the whole time, but
they're not doing all the exposition.
All this goes into now. We've talking about narrowing our comic down, talking about creating one page. So why don't we go from Rory and I, or whatever, we've all written scripts, so we can talk about. You start with the script. The way I like to write is I like to get my beginning, my end, and my big points in the middle. I go from biggest things to the next things down to the details that connect them all. That's the way I like to write a story. Some people can't stand it and have to go chronologically. It's just the way my brain works in writing.
I jump back and forth a lot to verify and double check that things make sense, that I'm hitting all the big points, hitting them chronologically.
Yeah.
And any great ideas I have along the way, I'll put on another page, reuse them somewhere else.
And what I also do is I start with way too much. I have way too much in there, and then I start to figure out, okay, how many panels will this take? Right. But when you're laying out any story, any script, the general rule of thumb, again, these are the rules are there to be broken. But yes, you want to have your opening, your inciting incident, your call to action, all that building up to that inciting incident where you're launching off in the first few pages. First, you don't want to go much past a quarter of the opener. You ideally, now in this modern era of storytelling, you want to get some action early because people will lose interest. And that's not always the rule. I was,
at least by the end of Act 1, you need to have something.
I was listening. Now, Jurassic Park was written in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s. The movie came out in the mid 90s. So we're going back when it was written. But Michael Crichton and a lot of his books have a lot of description and background in the beginning of the book. Yeah, fine, it works for him. Comic books.
He does a lot of research on his books.
A lot, and he sometimes, and just like Tolkien's poetry, Michael Crichton's information sometimes. But you can do that.
They want you to see it a very specific way.
In the comic book world,
actually invented the entire Elvish language.
Yeah, he can do it. He told his editor when the editor said the word is not it's dwarfs, not dwarves, and he's like, no, it's dwarves, and I say so. So okay,
it's my world. Well,
yeah, that's right. They're dwarves. So in the comic book world, you want to get your opening action early. And when I say action, I mean something to grab the reader. It doesn't have to be
and it can be it can be something visual. Yeah, it can be okay. I hand this off to the artist. Here's this page, and Ron will do this. He'll go, okay, here's the payoff. Yeah, here's the money shot. Yep. Give me all you've got on this page. So
if you don't grab them right off the bat within the first 2 or 3 pages.
People,
you've got to hook them.
There's plenty of other books to pick up. So, and then your middle usually needs to be compounding problems, and right around the 2/3 mark, have it compounding where it looks like it's all falling apart. Generally, if you're going to keep the story interesting, whereas the last act needs to remedy those problems, or if you're doing something, you're going to end on a bad note. Have it keep going, but you want to have a glimmer of hope, so it's not all hopeless. But anyways, so that's the scripting of it, and then when you get down to the page, what you're saying, Rob, is so in the script form, you've got to have each page make sense. Panel to panel needs to make sense. You need to think about from the art side or from the writing side too. You have to have it. You still have to think and write visually. It is a visual medium. You can't have it jump on one page. If you're having it change scene, you've got to have a really good reason for it, and almost never want to do that because
in the middle of the page.
Unless it's like a phone call and it's obvious. I'm on a phone in Miami and they're on a phone in St. Petersburg.
So like that scene in the original Batman TV show where he has to be Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Oh yeah.
that scene should be like every actor and actress. Yeah. Well, hang on, Commissioner. Let me talk.
Great Scott, Batman. That was my Commissioner Gordon. Everyone, thank you. So you have to think about the visual elements, and if the visually too, you can't jump around. It has to go. It has to make sense. I say chronologically. Each panel has to lead into the next, and then each page has to lead into the next, and then, like you said, ideally, Rob, the end of the page. It doesn't have to be a big cliffhanger. but it has to make you want to turn the page.
Yeah, there should be some cue to get you to, okay, I want to see what's on the next page so that I turn it. Yep.
And if you're going to write a twist into your story that you want to incorporate something from before in, that takes even more forethought.
Oh goodness, yeah,
like a twist of just a play on words or the scene.
You have to have some sort of foreshadowing. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's another. I mean, that's a writing thing you got to think about too. You can't just throw something in. But
we'll save that for our advanced class.
Yeah. So
for $210, you can have us as private.
What is foreshadowing? So each page, you've got all the elements. You've got panels in a tier. You've got the gutters. You've got all the visual elements. I'll let you talk about exactly.
Street urchins peddling their wares in the gutters.
in the gutters of the comic book world.
The actual motion in a comic book happens in the gutter.
Yes. You leave. Yep.
You can imply action in a scene, but the action takes place in the reader's mind in the gutters between the panels.
Yes, if it feels like work, if it feels like work to turn the page, if you're like, well, no.
What if you just really like that page? Just want to sit here for a while.
That's another beauty. Sorry, aside here, the beauty of books,
soliloquy.
The beauty of books and comic books compared to motion picture. Motion picture does not allow you to linger on a scene, and it doesn't allow you to easily go back and reread and say, wait, oh wow, that he said that back there.
Yeah, that was so philosophically.
Yes, and it makes sense now. So there's a beauty of the written word, especially the visual element added to the comic book. So from the writing side, you have to think about the visuals, the pacing, and each page does need to be interesting. Each page needs to make sense, and you can't waste a page. You can't waste a panel. You can't waste a word, because when you're putting words into balloons like that, they have to make sense. They have to be good. Unless, if you're having a scene where there's something goofy going on, or you want a person to be, not caring or flippant. It can be trite dialogue, but it has to serve a purpose. It can't just be a filler. Yeah. So
there's no room for fillers.
No room for
space.
So we can come. We can come back to the script side of it if we want, but I wanted to pass off to Barb and Rob too. Once the script is there, and you can talk about getting a good script, getting a not so great script, but the things that you think about that have to go, that are critical, the things you like, the things that you see that are great, the things you see that are bad.
Well, having a full script, it is very useful in how you set the scene in a certain panel, because if you have two characters talking to each other in a scene, you can't have the word balloon tails crossing.
Oh yeah,
you can't have them crossing. It confuses the reader, and it looks like crap. Excuse me. It looks like crap. So you have to be careful. So the person who speaks first, generally you put them on the left side of the page, and the person that speaks last is to the right. Now, if you leave enough room, you can play with that a little bit, but you still got to be able. You got to have room for the tail for that first person speaking to come down without crossing anything to speak to indicate who's speaking. So you could put a balloon here, one underneath it, and you could do that, but you don't want to put that many word balloons in a panel anyway.
Right.
But you have to be careful how you put them in.
You've got to remember too that if the second panel, the person who spoke last speaks first in the second panel, you need to flip the perspective. So you're looking at them from a different direction.
It's the
180.
It's the 180 rule.
Yep.
It's that 180 rule where the camera, say you've got two people standing like this, and or maybe like this, and the camera is as it is now. So when you flip the camera the other way, it's like that. This person that was in the background is now in the foreground, but you notice he's still on that side of the panel.
Yep.
So that's the 180 rule.
So does your background change with that?
So if you do this,
Yep.
that can confuse your reader.
Yeah.
It's not impossible. You can do it in comics, but you have to be really careful with that because you can start really confusing people as to where the characters are.
Right.
And
that brings up another point.
You can break that rule, but it's a pretty strong rule that it shouldn't be broken often. You can do it every once in a while, but not often because it'll just,
as Rob
it'll
says,
throw your.
It's kind of a rule. You have to know the rules before you can break the rules.
That's why I just write in second person.
And you have to be pretty good at what you do to break the rules.
To break it well. Because if you're going to break it, you better break it. Break it.
You better be clever.
So
you gotta be clever about it.
Yeah. Cormac McCarthy, who just recently passed away.
Did he?
Yeah. One of my all-time favorite books is The Road.
Yeah, you got me hooked on that.
Yeah. Pretty much 2 characters in that entire book. Makes it easy. You can go bink boink, dad boy, dad boy, dad boy, dad boy. Okay, no confusing. But I tried reading No Country for Old Men. It starts off with pronouns in each chapter, and there are multiple characters. I couldn't do it. Now, Cormac McCarthy, Pulitzer Prize winning author, fine. He can break the rules. But even he lost me. I couldn't do it. But favorite book, unreadable book.
You can do that if you've really got a different voice.
Yeah.
For each character.
Yeah.
If you can,
they have to talk
if you
differently.
set the way that those 2 characters speak, that there's some cadence to their speech or there's some inflections that they have that you can, an accent that you're playing with, then you can do that sort of thing, but not if it's just.
Yeah. Vic made I can't click. I don't think I can show Vic's. Vic made a good comment, especially a problem when the artists have the same face. Or if your characters look a lot alike, or your artist is not so great at keeping consistency with your character, so you sometimes need there's
a
new hat every day.
Yeah, they need a distinguishing characteristic. So the artist, I get it. So you're drawing a face so many times.
Early comic books had costume.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because so you could tell the characters.
Every male square jaw. Every woman shapely figure. There we go.
Yeah. Buxom bar maidens.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Very.
In fact, I'll quickly do. Let me see if I can.
There was no small-chested women in comics for a long time.
Yes. It is good to see you.
Unlike real
we
life.
are talking about the craft of comics, and when we talk about the craft, I know Brent, your mind immediately goes to the written word, right? The greatest part of the craft,
the best part.
But many of our adoring
crafting worlds
viewers out there thought we were going to talk about the art side of it, which is fine. How
wrong they were. No, they're wrong.
We're talking about. That's okay.
Your opinion is wrong, and you should feel bad.
So this is a great time to recap. We're at the halfway mark of our show here. We've been talking about crafting the page. We've distilled the overarching craft, saying that every bit is vital, every little jot and tittle is important, and we are constrained to the most economical use of words and lines and speech bubbles and negative spaces and expressions and so forth, which is where we are. Rob has been telling us how his preferences and so forth, and we've talked clarity and what each page needs. I won't immediately ask you to chime in, but you are welcome to chime in as you feel led.
Actually, I'd love to see what Rob's working on. Rob, can I
yes,
put your...
Rob is doing...
full frontal here.
Yep. There we go.
You can now tell. Look, they've got the same jaw.
Yep.
They've got the same mouth.
But
but because they've got a costume.
Yep.
That boyish curl in the front.
Yeah, I love the S
exactly.
Curl.
Yeah. It's critical, and it's still critical. Yeah, Vic says, especially in 90s comics. Yeah.
While I'm able to abuse control,
every woman's waist was this big.
Yeah.
While I'm able to abuse control, I'd like to point out Brent's T-shirt.
Sweet!
Amazing. And
very
you
nice.
too can get sweet sweet merch like this.
Yes.
If you back at the Kickstarter, add it as an add-on.
Yeah.
You're beautiful model. Did you go to modeling school?
Yes.
You missed your calling. Right?
Man.
My goodness.
You know,
You could have been a Zoolander.
Vanna White may be leaving here before long. She may need a
Oh.
replacement.
Oh, Brent.
Ooh,
You can go
job
touch those
openings.
letters.
You want to sell stuff, right? You don't just want to give it away, right?
yeah. Brent will just be up there screaming out answers.
Hey,
A Tuesday afternoon, date night.
Yeah.
buy my stuff and I'll leave.
You know, water. Good for you.
You need
And
it.
sparkles too.
Did you guys see the clip
Moisture, the essence of wetness.
of The Price is Right? The guy was cheering so hard that he dislocated his own shoulder.
Oh,
And they went to commercial, of course, and then by the time they got to the spin the wheel thingy, his wife came and Drew Carey explained what happened. He cheered so hard. So he couldn't spin it.
He couldn't throw the wheel.
I don't know if I've ever been so thrilled.
That's amazing. No,
I
I've
feel that
never been
strongly
that.
about
Well,
really.
when they're waiting in line to get inside, they tell everyone, if you get called, if you throw a big fit, go crazy.
Right.
That's what we're
You
looking
gotta
for.
Freak out. It's another Scott Wakefield sidebar. The Perfect Bid. Watch it. This guy is obsessed with The Price is Right. He's got a math brain, and from a kid on, he was keeping track of what everything costs, and he was in the audience like 34 times, and finally got on the show. A whole crazy story about this guy and his obsession with The Price is Right. I think it's called The Perfect Bid. It's very interesting. Right up there with King of Kong. Fistful of Dollars, the guy that breaks the Donkey Kong record, and the video game goons come and
wasn't he like unknown for a while? Like they didn't know who it was.
Well, he was a nobody. He was just a nobody. He was a guy. He was a
Track
teacher
him
laid
down.
off, and he beat the 1981 high score, and the mafia, the video game mafia, came after him to stop him.
You owe us quarters.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. If you're into that nerdy stuff, which I'm not really. I mean, my wife was watching it. I was there. I was pumping iron and working on a car, and so and grilling.
Something like this guy who was into that. His son was into that.
Yeah. Okay, comic books, people. Let's stay focused.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
From the
from the art side, important elements. What are there, Rob, Barbara, in Brent, Rory, consumers? Are there important elements that almost always need to be on the page? Is there
easy readability?
Okay.
You don't want to have to put arrows to point where to read next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to
sometimes,
lead the
when the
eye.
dialogue does and I read it and I think,
I was
that doesn't make sense.
commenting on the Sunday show, and they were talking about this, and one of my comments was that you should never have to put an arrow to point to the next panel that needs to be read. Now there's different ways to. Yeah, you can.
Not an obvious arrow.
No. I mean, you can do stuff in the background. You can, or the way that you lay the page out, so that your eye is naturally drawn to the next panel, and then takes you down. It's usually a Z shape.
Yeah,
on a page. I'm doing it backwards, but yeah,
because my mind naturally goes to photography.
Yeah,
and it's like a swooping shape. Because I think there's exceptions to every rule. So you can have a page with like. You can have a full page with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels or less, and the way your eye moves will help tell the story. As long and the writer can write that in, like you emphasize this.
To be guided, though.
Yes,
yeah,
and you can have that perfect golden ratio into it.
You got to know the rules in order to break the rules.
You can break them.
Well.
Yeah,
but it can't,
eye movement is huge.
Yeah, it can't be confusing. That's the thing. You can go. If you can figure out a way to go from bottom right to top left and make it obvious, fine. but it's got to be out. You can't have any question. Baldwin Orange is asking who'll be the first to market the Titanic sub story.
I'm not going to touch that one.
And
dark humor and irony.
Yeah, that's I can't imagine. Yikes.
Yeah.
I also have been reading.
I just have a feeling that's not going to turn out well.
No, because considering if they are at where the depth that they think they are,
it would take too long to come up to equalize.
There's never been a rescue. Like I think the closest rescue is like 1/10 of that depth.
Yeah.
So
unless they get them before tomorrow morning, that's when their air runs out.
Very sad.
You have to have safety stops every so many feet and stay there for like an hour and then move up and stay there for an hour and then move up.
And but I was also reading about the alleged safety shortcuts that were taken with the sub. It doesn't sound good at all.
No,
but,
it's not. It's not going to end well.
I don't know if
even if they come back, even if they do find them, it's not going to end well because it's the guy that did all this is going to be under the microscope. Big time.
So they heard banging on the walls when they're down there, like, oh, that's pressure.
But they said it's at equal intervals, which is a method. Every top and bottom of the hour when you want to be rescued, you bang for 3 minutes at the top. But still, it's very weird. Yeah, I was reading some of the Coast Guard out of Boston, there, First District, which is a question, Rory, that came up with me. Who inspects submersibles like that? Because if they were cutting corners,
private, no, they wouldn't.
Well, they're in. The problem is they're in international waters,
right? So they wouldn't have to get approval.
Right.
NOAA, Coast Guard. If it's a private builder, not for public use.
Yep.
Yeah, it is pressurized.
It's not a T-boat.
It's a pressurized.
There has to be something in international law in order to cover it. And
the international law just means it's not covered.
Yeah, exactly.
But
that took us all to the end.
Yes, it did. But story wise, yes, the story around it, I don't know if that maybe we'll find out. I don't know if it'll lend itself to a comic book medium, but at least it'll be an interesting story.
Sure.
At the background of it, because yikes.
It'll be like Marine.
It is a theme, a lost
in regulated
space kind
now.
Of theme. We have these themes of people being stuck in vessels.
This particular story has this reality has a story element in it that can be used to tell stories.
Oh yeah,
and that's a ticking clock.
Yep.
If you're telling a story, one of the ways to keep the tension going is to have a ticking clock of some time. This has got to be done in so much time. Yeah. So that keeps the tension going.
In the TV show 24.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, that's perfect. Yep. That was
so. Art imitates life.
Yes.
Well, yeah, because
White Squall, all is lost.
Oof, all is lost. That
was
what's his name? Sailboat.
3 hour tour.
Yeah. Or you can actually have Batman running around with a bomb.
Yeah.
Someday
you just can't get rid of a bomb. A literal. Yes. The comic book page is in microcosm, the entire comic book as well. All the elements that you need to keep the page turning, to keep the eye moving, keep the action moving forward are all on the page. They're all critical, and you can't forget the rules. You can't forget what's necessary with this storytelling. And my loving wife here has just delivered a Butterfinger ice cream, whatever the local calls it.
You have enough to share with everyone.
Blizzard. I will mute my microphone and take.
No wait, Cassie, get in there. Say hi.
No, she does not appear on screen. She refuses, outright refuses. I mean, our numbers, our ratings would go way up if she.
Just grabbing a page at random.
Yes. What do you got, Rob?
Boston Bombers.
Yeah. Okay.
So let me.
Left. There you go. Ooh, that's good. Keep it like that, Rory.
So there's and then
That's amazing. I love that bleed over panel to panel.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That works.
and
Very good.
it all leads your eye. It all
does.
leads your eye. That's it. So, and that was
Rob,
just picked at random.
You lead my eye.
Right to your bank account. Write me a check.
Right.
Yes.
Vic has an important question.
Yes.
God,
okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Vic.
No.
Yes. The ice cream trip was critical. It is finally summer here in New York. It's been like
Jeez.
it's been like 58 degrees for a month and rainy.
Oh, that's right. It comes here first. It's on its way.
Yeah. It was finally 83 degrees here today, and it was everybody and their brother was getting ice cream. And my son, my loving, caring son, had a gift card to the local ice cream monger. And as a loving son should do, took his mother and his sisters out for ice cream, and they brought me back something. See, that's love. That's love right there.
That's a good family.
My heart is
Round
warmed.
of applause.
My heart is warmed that my son every once in a while has these ideas.
Where does
You
he
warm
get
the
them?
cockles of my heart.
They are so warm.
Cassie has trained him well.
His mother has trained him. I have taught him ice cream is important. So I mean, at least
that's all.
I've passed that on.
Your fatherly duty is
All
done.
right. So yeah, you had a little bit to do it.
Yeah.
Before I forget, I want to remind everybody that we do have a Kickstarter campaign going. Head over to Kickstarter.com or find Silverline anywhere on social media, and our links will be there, and we'll take you. We have a double feature, as is our custom. Or
just go to Kickstarter and type in Silverline,
Type
and
in
then look
Silverline.
for the new one.
And we would love for you to go back that if you've backed it. We would love if you upped your pledge a little, but we're over the mark. We've hit our goal, so this will definitely be in your hands. And those of you who backed the last Kickstarter campaign of Beyond the Stars and Steam Patriots, both number 2s, those are shipping very, very soon. The update came through.
I backed that one, and I got an email telling me it is. They're packing them up now. They're
on
waiting
the way.
They were waiting for the T-shirts. I think
Yes,
all that was left
Tommy
to come
figured out a
out.
way to feed those through the machine, and they're printing. He's printing T-shirts right now.
I backed Silverline, and all I got was the stupid T-shirt.
I can't wait. I can be as cool as Brent with a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, not possible. I'm sorry. Thank you for not laughing right out loud, spitting your coffee out. We're in the last few minutes here. We're talking the craft of comic books and the importance of the page, and writing the comic book frequently will go through many changes once it comes out of the writer's mind, gets to the artist, and comes back. And I, being a writer, thinking in words more than in images, respect and love the feedback that I get from the artists, because
that's
the
not
artists.
what you told me.
Well, okay.
All I get is this stream of expletives.
Every once in a while, when it's spelled clearly, draw this thing just like this, and it comes back not just like that. But I know that artists get it, and they're like, "What the crap?"
I said a 16 spoke cog, not an 18. You know what the gear ratio is on that?
That wasn't invented until 1792.
That's high torque. That's high torque. I want low torque.
It was the best of times. It was the blurst of times.
Okay, and
it was a dark and stormy night. Now dark and rainy night. It's stormy. Don't you listen?
The interplay.
And then there's the writer who does this.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Oh, I love it.
You write exactly. I want 997.
I want the full Roman legion.
When I say legion, I mean legion.
I don't see the problem. What's the problem here?
That's when you do it digitally, and you do one row, and then you just copy.
Like an idiot. Yeah, like an idiot. Though what I did was I did it so I couldn't do that.
See, Rob, we like that personal touch. We're gonna use it for
down a little bit as you go, and it gets smaller and smaller in the distance.
But now there is a group off to the right, to the left hand side, that it's just one group, and I pasted those over several times, which is you can't see in the original. But, so hell yeah.
You know, Kayla's coming out. Actually, I just cut and pasted the script from the first issue. So, yeah.
just hit the AI button that out talked, right? Yeah.
That's all
Chatbot.
I think so. That's a whole other discussion we ought to have.
Yeah.
Have we had
I mean, we've had a little bit of that. Yeah. We should have a real in-depth discussion.
Whole episode on AI art and another one on AI writing.
Yeah.
How bad they are.
Actually, how
well they're going to get better.
Yeah.
It's going to get better. It's like everything else. It starts out, but it eventually gets better. So we'll, how are we going to deal with that? Or a future episode.
Hal. Let's name it all Hal 4000, 2000.
Yep.
What was it?
I have a future episode coming in July about aliens, Dave. Everybody who's watching. So come on.
Yes, mark your calendars. I think that's the last Wednesday of July is aliens or first Wednesday of July. I'm not sure. Well, so we are winding down here. What's up? Anybody seen Flash? Patriot Attire. Yeah. Vic, yeah.
I've been in DC.
No, I haven't seen Flash. I want to see Flash.
I have heard, I've read mixed reviews. A friend of mine saw it, said when Michael Keaton was on screen, it was excellent.
Uh-oh.
And that's what he...
No, don't figure. Don't figure.
Well, I think that's great, but I can't buy a quarter of a ticket.
Right. I don't get it. Can I just watch this? But yeah. I've not seen it. I've not been to see a talkie in quite a while. I've not seen,
but you
the last
films.
What's that, Brent?
So David Rios, you've seen it. What did you think?
I love the Silenties.
I go to the talkies at least once a week. So
yeah,
but I'm a little behind. So
well, that brings up an interesting thing as well. Is when I'm drawing a comic book page, I like to think of it as I'm actually doing a silent movie.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to be able to figure out what's going on the page without any words on it. You can at least have a general idea, and then the writer can make it more specific. And but you should be able to generally tell what's going on in the scene. So that's the way I look at it.
I like that.
You really need to have very good facial expressions and body language, which I can't imagine how hard that is for an artist to convey.
It is
the nuance of it.
Yeah, but that's what I love doing about it, is the subtleties of it. So yeah.
Yeah, David says hit and miss, and that Ezra. He's kind of tarnished.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That guy.
That's too bad. I'll probably wait till it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
I went and saw Transformers a few days ago because we were trying to see Fast
There's a new
X,
Transformers,
and they were sold out. And I'm like, what's as good as Fast X? Transformers. So obviously, I've set the bar somewhere down around my ankles.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh man!
What if Transformers and Fast and the Furious had a crossover?
Over it. You're not talking about limbo. You're talking about stepping over the bar.
Yeah,
not going under it.
I got to ask you a question then, Brent. Was there the obligatory pillow-lipped girl?
No, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, Michael Bay is
no
on
Megan Fox.
No, so it was really noisy. But the robots actually, a couple of them had moral conundrums, and I'm like, "Wow,
interesting.
This movie's not terrible."
So they were
bad.
three-dimensional character-wise. Okay.
Yeah. So
not just digitally, but character-wise. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's one of the better Transformers movies, which is saying so little.
But yeah. Is this the Beast Wars one, or is this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How come no one has made Octopus Prime?
Oh, Octoprime.
How come that doesn't exist?
That's good.
What about
Whatever happened to her? What's she doing these days?
Oh,
Did she win that
man.
lawsuit? I don't know.
Oh, God.
And what about
Okay.
what about the Star Trek world?
You're
I
going
have
to
not.
get us canceled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have not watched Strange New Worlds at all, and I
No,
want to.
same.
Though. Is
Two
it good?
thumbs up.
Okay.
Really?
In fact, 2 thumbs up twice.
Double 2 thumbs, double good.
Oh, it is
He's Roger
excellent.
and Ebert.
Octopus slime.
I bought it.
Okay.
I bought it. 'Cause
Okay.
I'm not paying for Paramount Plus.
Nah. Okay.
But I kept seeing bits and pieces of
Yep.
it on YouTube, and I went, okay, I got to buy it.
Reddit. Hell, I own it.
And my wife and I watched it every weekend. We'd watch an episode.
Okay. Good stuff.
OMG.
Yeah.
If you love
Yeah,
original
yeah.
Trek,
Is
with a little bit of the modernity of Next Generation.
Modernity. Mhm.
I'm still trying to get over Rob
Modernity.
saying OMG.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
OMG.
He picked that up from the girls' golf team you drove around.
Yeah, for sure.
And the lead
He's got
is
that Riz.
Forbes.
No, if you're a Trek fan
Okay.
and you didn't like Discovery, you will like this.
Okay. Thank you. Right there.
Yeah, good.
Thank you. Yep. And
Good review.
we should all, yes, everybody out there, Vic is 1000% correct. You can trust Rob's Star Trek opinion.
Because I saw that first free episode of Discovery,
Mhm.
and I went, why would I want to watch this? This was not. It's supposed to, when you do something like
This isn't
that, it's
Quantum
supposed
Leap.
to draw your fans in to watch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just turned. I just went. "Oh, I don't like any of these characters. I
Right.
don't like any.
I
of
couldn't
them.
remember
I'm
any
not
of their
pulling
names.
For any of them, I don't remember their names.
Every
Like,
episode.
the Klingons look like crap.
Yeah.
I'm not interested. So I wasn't interested. But seeing little bits and pieces of it of Strange New Worlds on YouTube, I went, oh.
Yep.
So when it became available digitally, I bought it digitally, and we watched every episode of it. I can't wait till season 2 is available to purchase as well, because
Okay.
it just, the first episode just dropped. I've heard some mixed reviews on this first one, so I don't know. They may jump the shark early on this one, but it is excellent
the risk.
TV. It's perfect. It's just it's Star Trek. It's
All
true
right.
Star Trek
Good.
in the sense of old the original series
Trek,
and
yeah.
third season on of Next Generation.
Yeah.
So you're saying that more so than Discovery and Picard?
Yeah, I haven't seen Picard either. I've
I
seen
haven't
bits and
seen
pieces
Picard.
of that.
I
And
enjoyed
again,
We are so far behind on everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm still trying to get
after
to DSG.
if I could find it in the discount bin,
No.
I will probably pick it up. But I'm not even gonna. It's gonna have to be on sale for me to be interested in it.
I haven't
But,
even gotten to the last Mandalorian.
Yeah, I heard this last season they actually brought back the Enterprise D.
Yeah. It was
So-
like they
Which
just
is-
shoveled like fanboy service like right into everybody's mouth.
Yeah,
But
and
Yeah.
I'm going,
which everybody seemed to
okay.
loved it, but it
Yeah.
I feel like if that's what it needed, then it was probably hurting. If it couldn't stand on its own
Yeah.
without being next
bringing
generation.
back all the original
Yeah.
crew and
Yeah.
then
And the
bringing back
ship, the whole,
itself.
like, everything. Yeah.
Then they'll be bringing in Emperor Palpatine next.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
One of the
I-
last minutes here.
we gotta catch up. We
gotta wrap it up.
Well, we did talk a little about the comic book page and about creating comic books and what's necessary to fit on every page. Folks, get over to Kickstarter and make sure you check out the campaign that is running right now. 4 days left, and I say 4 days. Don't wait till the last minute. Do it now.
It's funded,
Get those-
so every time you
unlock-
add onto it,
Yep. Unlock those
Yeah.
stretch goals.
Yeah,
Stretch
because they've got
goals.
stretch goals. Let's get some more stretch goals going.
And
Yeah.
don't forget, get to all of our social media outlets. Like, follow, share, subscribe. You know what you do with social media. I don't have to remind you. Rory, I'll give you a primer. if you can't figure it out.
I was gonna let Barb do it, but
we have had a great time talking tonight. Share this video once it's out there on YouTube and Facebook and so forth. Tell all your friends. Don't forget. Don't wait to get over to Kickstarter. Any final parting thoughts that I've missed?
Don't
everybody?
walk, run.
Don't walk. You go there right now because and
Just
I'm giving
a minute or two. It's time to head over for that.
Yeah, and Barb.
Kickstarter.
I'm not running the show tonight. Barb's got the
I got it.
clicker ready, and she's gonna
She'll
not
bump us out.
bungle it like I do usually.
Bump us out.
So, folks out there, thank you. This has been Wednesday Wham for the Silverline crew. We've had a great night, and as always, make mine.
Make mine.
Silverline.
Silverline.
Good night, everybody.
Hi, I'm Bill Black. I created FemForce. But you know what? Today, make mine Silverline.